There are truths that cannot be spoken plainly, not because they are hidden, but because most hearts are not yet shaped to receive them. Ibn Arabi said that every secret carries its own key, and that key is not the mind, it is the state of the soul. What you are about to hear is a truth that does not open for everyone. It reveals itself only to those whose inner world has been cracked open by longing, silence, and surrender. Such people do not listen with their ears. They listen with the space behind the heartbeat. This message waits for that space, for the moment when the heart becomes still enough to feel what the eyes cannot see. If you sense a pull, a quiet trembling inside, then understand, the meaning is choosing you. For in the realm of the hidden, it is never the seeker who finds the secret. It is the secret that finds the seeker. The whisper that only an awakened heart can hear does not arrive as sound nor as thought. It comes as a subtle trembling in the depths of the soul, a movement so delicate that the unready mind dismisses it as nothing. Yet for the heart that has tasted longing, this whisper becomes unmistakable, a trace of the beloved's presence brushing against the inner world. It is not heard in the ears, but recognized in the marrow of being. This recognition is the first sign that the heart has begun to wake from its long sleep. Such a whisper cannot be forced, summoned, or captured. It arrives in moments when the heart softens enough to listen. Sometimes it comes in the quiet of dawn, when the world has not yet remembered its noise. Other times, it emerges in the middle of sorrow, when the heart cracks open just wide enough for light to seep through. The awakened heart does not seek the whisper. It becomes receptive to it, like an empty vessel waiting for rain. What makes this whisper unique is not its volume, but its source. It does not originate from outside the seeker, nor does it travel through space. It rises from within, yet belongs to something beyond form. The heart hears it because it is made of the same essence as the one who whispers. This is why only a heart that has shed layers of forgetfulness can perceive it. The whisper is not a message, it is a return. When the whisper reaches the heart, it does not bring clarity immediately. Instead, it leaves a gentle ache, a subtle pull towards something unseen. The awakened heart feels this pull, as if something familiar is calling from behind a veil. It knows without knowing, remembers without memory. This is the divine's way of guiding the seeker without overwhelming them, drawing them forward through sweetness rather than command. The whisper carries no words, yet its meaning is unmistakable. It tells the heart to pause, to soften, to descend into its own depths. It calls the seeker away from the outer noise and toward the chamber where true understanding sleeps. Those who hear it feel an urge to sit with themselves, to peel away distractions, to be still long enough for the unseen to show itself. The whisper is not instruction, it is invitation. Many people pass through life without ever noticing this whisper, not because it is absent, but because their hearts remain crowded. The awakened heart becomes spacious, emptied of excessive desires and fears. In this spaciousness, the whisper rises like a faint melody. It is the sound of truth preparing to reveal itself. It draws the heart inward, away from the world's illusions, toward the quiet where all secrets are held. Once the whisper is heard, the heart cannot return to who it was before. Something subtle but irreversible has begun. The seeker feels shifted, aligned with a direction they do not fully understand yet cannot ignore. It is as if a compass, hidden beneath the ribs, has suddenly begun to turn. This motion is delicate, but for those attuned, it is unmistakable, the heart responding to the call of its origin. The whisper also tests the seeker. It appears faint at first, requiring patience, humility, and sincerity to follow. If the heart becomes distracted, the whisper fades, not out of punishment, but because a cloud has passed between the heart and the light. When the seeker returns to truthfulness, the whisper returns gently. It teaches that true listening is not an act of the ears, but an act of surrender. Sometimes, the whisper arrives during moments when the seeker least expects it. In the middle of routine life, While walking, working, or waiting, a sudden clarity surfaces, brief but luminous. These flashes are reminders that the unseen moves constantly through the scene, and the heart that remains receptive can hear its guidance at any moment. In these moments, the whisper becomes revelation. The awakened heart knows that this whisper is not meant for everyone, not because the divine withholds, but because not all hearts are ready to carry the weight of truth. A truth given to an unprepared heart becomes burden. A truth given to a softened heart becomes nourishment. The whisper arrives only when the soul has ripened enough to receive without breaking. As the heart follows this subtle guidance, it begins to notice how the whisper deepens. What was once faint becomes steady. What was once confusing becomes familiar. The heart learns to recognize the difference between ego's noise and the whisper's purity. Ego pushes, the whisper draws. Ego demands, the whisper offers. Ego speaks loudly. The whisper hums like distant light. Over time, the whisper becomes the heart's compass. Decisions no longer come from fear or desire, but from a quiet knowing. The heart begins to move with a confidence that does not belong to logic. It steps into situations guided by an unseen hand, trusting that the whisper will illuminate each step as needed. This is the heart's transformation into a vessel for divine meaning. The whisper does not promise comfort, it promises truth. Sometimes it leads the seeker through shadows so that old illusions fall away. Sometimes it leads into solitude so the heart can hear more clearly. But always, it leads toward wholeness. The awakened heart learns to trust that even the difficult paths are part of the guidance. The whisper never misleads. It simply reveals slowly. The whisper becomes so subtle that the seeker fears it has disappeared. But its silence is also instruction. It teaches the heart to rely less on signs and more on presence. When the whisper grows quiet, the heart must deepen inward, searching not for sound but for alignment. This silence is another form of speech, a space where deeper truths are prepared. The heart realizes that the whisper was never separate from itself. It was the soul's original language resurfacing. The heart begins to feel that the whisper is not coming times to times it, but times through times it. It is the breath of the unseen moving inside form. It is the beloved speaking through the very heart that seeks him. The seeker and the whisper are no longer two. As this unity deepens, the heart becomes sensitive to truths hidden behind appearances. It sees meaning in what others overlook. It reads symbols in ordinary moments. It feels divine presence in every shift of life. The whisper trains the heart to see beyond surfaces, to sense the eternal weaving itself through the temporary. This recognition becomes its greatest gift. The seeker realizes that the whisper has changed them completely. Their inner world has become quieter, gentler, steadier. They no longer panic in uncertainty, for they trust the unseen rhythm guiding their steps. They listen more than they speak. They watch more than they react. The whisper has shaped their state. The more the heart awakens, the more the whisper becomes constant. It is felt in breath, in silence, in subtle intuition. It does not shout truths, it unveils them. Each unveiling deepens the seeker's understanding, pulling them closer to the hidden meaning behind all reality. This is how the heart becomes fluent in the language of the unseen. The seeker comes to understand the greatest secret. The whisper was not a message from afar, but the echo of the beloved within their own soul. It was not communication, it was communion. The awakened heart hears not a voice, but a presence. It recognizes that the one who whispered was the one who had awakened the heart, and in that recognition, the heart discovers its home. The whisper is no longer a rare visitor. It becomes the constant light guiding every breath. The seeker understands that this whisper was the beginning of a deeper union, a hidden meaning offered only to those whose hearts have learned how to listen. Meanings do not reveal themselves in the same way to every seeker. Some look at a truth and see only its surface, like someone staring at the ocean but noticing only the waves. Yet those who carry inner light see depth where others see distance. They read silence as scripture and feel guidance in the smallest detail. Such hearts do not learn meanings. Meanings open themselves before them, like flowers that bloom only when touched by dawn. The unfolding of meaning begins when the inner world becomes luminous enough to recognize what lies beneath appearances. Without this light, a truth is merely a sound, a word, a symbol. With it, that same truth becomes a doorway. The heart that carries inner illumination does not ask for explanations. It perceives them. It senses the hidden architecture behind every event, understanding that the divine speaks through more than language. The inner light is not gained through study or effort alone. It grows slowly, softened by sincerity, polished by longing, and refined through moments of surrender. When this light awakens, the seeker begins to perceive meaning in places previously unnoticed. In the shift of the wind, in the quiet between breaths, in the rise and fall of circumstances, everything becomes a carrier of secret wisdom. Those who walk with inner light understand that meaning arrives in layers. The first layer comforts, the second teaches, and the third transforms. They do not rush to capture meaning like a possession. Instead, they sit with it, allowing it to unfold at its own pace. True meaning is alive, it breathes, and it reveals itself only to the heart patient enough to listen with humility. For such seekers, the world becomes a book written by the beloved. Every page is etched with symbols not meant to be decoded by intellect alone, but felt by the soul. A ray of light across a wall, the rustle of leaves, the stillness before rain, all of these become verses. The one who carries inner light reads them naturally, without needing translation. Inner light changes how one experiences difficulty as well. Challenges no longer appear as punishments, but as messages requiring interpretation. The seeker asks not, "Why is this happening?" but "What is this trying to show me?" When seen through this illumination, even sorrow becomes a teacher, and pain becomes a guide toward deeper truth. Meanings unfold most clearly when the seeker's ego steps aside. The light within is dimmed by pride, brightened by humility. When the seeker becomes empty of self, the inner lamp shines without obstruction, illuminating truths normally hidden in shadow. In this clarity, even the smallest event becomes a revelation, and even ordinary life becomes sacred. Those who carry this light begin to notice that the world speaks in subtle harmonies. Everything responds to everything else. A thought influences a moment. A prayer shifts the unseen. Meanings rise from this interconnectedness, like fragrance from a flower. The awakened heart smells what others walk past. It recognizes patterns too delicate for the mind to grasp. For these seekers, divine meanings arrive not as loud proclamations, but as gentle unveilings. Sometimes, it is a sudden clarity that breaks open the heart. Other times, it is a slow deepening that reshapes perspective over years. The heart's light determines the pace, and the divine never forces unveiling onto an unready soul. Meaning is grace, not achievement. Such hearts discover that meaning is not separate from them. It does not come from outside. It emerges from within, like light from a lantern. The external world only triggers what the inner world already knows but has forgotten. When the heart is lit, everything it encounters becomes a mirror, reflecting its own knowing back to it. When meanings unfold, the seeker feels a strange familiarity, as if learning something they always knew but could not name. This recognition is the hallmark of inner illumination. Truth feels like homecoming. With each unveiling, the heart whispers, "Yes, this is what I have been sensing." It is the beloved, reminding the soul of its forgotten knowledge. The unfolding of meaning transforms the seeker's relationship with time. Moments are no longer measured by clocks, but by insight. A single second of true understanding is more valuable than years of empty living. The seeker begins to see that time bends around meaning, and that meaning is the real treasure hidden within every passing breath. Inner light also teaches the seeker to hold contradictions gently. What once appeared conflicting becomes harmonious. The heart understands that truth wears many garments, each suited to a different state of the soul. Those without inner light argue over appearances. Those with it see unity beneath diversity, purpose beneath confusion. Meanings unfold most beautifully in the presence of gratitude. The heart that thanks before it understands, receives before it asks. Gratitude polishes the inner lamp until its light becomes steady and bright. In this brightness, meanings cascade effortlessly, like stars emerging after sunset. The grateful heart lives in continuous revelation. The illuminated heart also realizes that meanings are not possessions. They cannot be hoarded or displayed. When shared with the unprepared, they become misunderstood or ignored. This is why the mystics often spoke in symbols, not out of secrecy, but protection. Meaning is a delicate flame. It requires the right vessel to hold it. Over time, the seeker learns to trust the rhythm of unfolding. They no longer force understanding. They wait for it. They know that what is meant for them will arrive exactly when the heart is ready. The divine teaches each soul according to its capacity, and inner light ensures that this teaching is received with grace. As meanings deepen, the seeker becomes more gentle, more observant, more compassionate. They see that everyone moves at their own pace of awakening. This compassion becomes another form of inner illumination, creating an atmosphere in which meanings unfold, not only for themselves, but for others touched by their presence. Meanings begin to rise, not from the outer world, but directly from the heart's core. The seeker becomes attuned to an inner teacher, a silent guide that reveals truths before the mind even forms the questions. This is the stage where meanings emerge as light rather than language. Understanding becomes immediate, intuitive, and profound. At the highest stage, the heart realizes that the light it carries is not its own. It is a reflection of the divine light placed within to guide the soul back to its source. Meanings unfold because they recognize their origin. The inner light is the meeting point between creator and creation, a lamp lit by his breath. And when the seeker fully awakens to this, meaning no longer arrives in pieces, it floods the heart like sunrise over a vast horizon. Everything becomes a verse. Everything becomes a sign. Everything becomes a reminder of the one who placed the inner light within the seeker so that truth could be seen not by the eyes, but by the soul. Beneath every spoken word lies a world unseen, a depth untouched by ordinary hearing. Most people grasp only the outer shell of language, mistaking sound for meaning. But those who walk the inward path know that words are merely vessels, and the real message travels beneath them like a hidden river. Ibn Arabi taught that every statement has an inner life, a pulse that speaks directly to the soul. Only those who listen with the heart can feel this pulse. When the seeker learns to read beyond sound, words become transparent. Their outer form dissolves, and what remains is a subtle current flowing from the unseen. At this depth, language no longer divides, it unites. It reveals the link between speaker and listener, between thought and revelation. What seems simple becomes luminous. What seems familiar becomes endless. Truth hides beneath words because the outer world cannot carry its full weight. If pure truth were spoken openly, it would overwhelm unprepared hearts. So the divine wraps it in layers: metaphor, symbol, poetry, like light hidden inside a lantern. The wise do not chase the lantern's shape, they seek the radiance within it. The ignorant dispute the form, never tasting the light. Every sacred text carries these layers. The literal meaning comforts the masses, but the inner meaning awakens the few. The heart attuned to subtlety discovers that each verse is a door, and behind that door is another door, and beyond that, another. The journey inward is infinite, not because truth is hidden, but because truth is alive. It grows as the seeker grows. When the heart begins to sense these layers, words no longer feel limited. A single sentence can transform a lifetime. A single phrase can open 1,000 realizations. The surface meaning is only a shadow of the truth it carries. Those who rush miss it entirely. Those who pause feel it rising like dawn from behind the veil. The true seeker approaches words as mirrors. They reflect back not only outer meaning but the state of the heart engaging them. What one person sees as ordinary, another experiences as revelation. This difference comes not from the words themselves, but from the light within the reader. Meaning conforms itself to the vessel that receives it. The hidden layer of truth speaks in silence as much as in speech. It often appears between lines, in the spaces the mind overlooks. The heart feels a pull, a subtle recognition, even when the intellect cannot explain why. This is the whisper of the unseen, subtle, delicate, unmistakable, for those who have learned to feel with more than senses. Sometimes the divine hides truth beneath words to protect it. A heart not yet ready would distort or misuse what it does not understand. So, truth wears disguises until the seeker ripens. Then, suddenly, what was once confusing becomes clear. The same words reveal a new world. Nothing changed except the state of the heart. Words spoken by those who have tasted the real carry a different gravity. Their speech becomes layered with presence. Even their simple statements contain oceans. Those who listen lightly hear only ripples. Those who listen deeply feel the tide. It is not eloquence that creates this depth. It is nearness to the source. When seekers learn to perceive beneath language, they become less attached to outer expression. They understand that truth is not limited by vocabulary. It moves freely through metaphors, symbols, gestures, silence. They learn to sense meaning, even when no words are spoken. They begin to hear the world the way mystics do, as a vast conversation. The hidden layer is also a test. It asks the seeker, are you content with appearance, or are you willing to enter the inner chamber? Those satisfied with surface meaning stop at the door. Those hungry for depth remove the veil gently and step inside. And once they do, they realize that truth was not hiding, it was waiting. In the unseen world, meanings are alive. They shift shape according to the heart that meets them. A word that once stung may later heal. A phrase that once confused may become clear as water. This transformation shows that the seeker's inner world, not the outer text, was the true barrier all along. The mystic does not wrestle with words. He lets them flow, observing where they lead. He knows that truth reveals itself only to those who approach gently. The mind tries to dissect meaning. The heart absorbs it. Words are threads. The mystic follows them back to the hand that wove them. Those who perceive the hidden layer often speak in ways that confuse the literal-minded. Their language seems paradoxical, symbolic, or strange. But to awakened hearts, these strange words feel familiar. They speak the language of the soul, not the language of logic, and the soul understands without translation. As the seeker matures, they begin to realize that the hidden layer of truth is not beneath words, but beyond them. Words can point, but they cannot contain. They gesture toward reality, like a finger pointing at the moon. The wise look where the finger points. The foolish stare at the finger. The heart, illuminated by inner light, begins to experience truth directly. Words become catalysts, not carriers. A single phrase can ignite understanding that expands far beyond the sentence itself. This is the moment when the seeker transitions from learning truth to witnessing it. The divine often conceals truths in ordinary language, because the ordinary is the perfect hiding place for the extraordinary. People ignore what they believe they already understand. Yet the mystic knows that the deepest secrets are often hidden inside the simplest words. Light, love, presence, heart. These words open infinite doors. When truth finally unfolds from beneath the surface, It feels like remembering, not discovering. Something ancient inside the seeker stirs and says, "I knew this." That recognition is the sign that the veil has lifted. Meaning was not taught to them, it was awakened. The hidden layer of truth teaches the seeker humility. They realize how little can be grasped with intellect alone. They learn to listen with their whole being, to sense with their spirit, to receive without analysis. Words become companions rather than puzzles, bridges rather than barriers. And when the seeker finally touches the truth beneath all words, they fall silent not because they lack understanding, but because they have entered the place where meaning no longer needs language. Here, the heart speaks directly to the infinite, and the infinite responds through a silence brighter than speech. There are moments in life when the eyes observe everything, yet understand nothing. Sight gathers shapes, colors, and movements, but meaning slips through unnoticed. It is only when the soul awakens that the unseen dimension of life begins to glow. The mystic knows that the world is layered. The visible is only a garment, and the truth lies beneath. When the soul recognizes what the eyes overlook, reality shifts from appearance to revelation. The soul reads with a different language. It senses patterns the eyes cannot trace, feels truths the mind cannot articulate. Where the eyes see coincidence, the soul sees alignment. Where the eyes see emptiness, the soul notices presence. This recognition does not come through training, but through an inner softening, a quiet ripening that allows reality to be felt rather than merely observed. Sometimes the soul's recognition begins in subtle ways. A sudden pause, an inexplicable emotion, a moment where something ordinary feels unusually profound. These are not accidents, they are invitations. The beloved calls the soul through hints, through symbols, hidden in plain sight. The awakened heart becomes sensitive to these traces, following them like footprints in the sand. The eyes may see a passing stranger, a simple gesture, a fallen leaf insignificant. But the soul notices the echo beneath it. It senses the divine, arranging each moment with precision, weaving meaning into what the eyes dismiss as chance. This is why the mystic walks slowly, listens deeply, and speaks seldom. He knows the world is alive with secrets. When the soul becomes attuned, it begins to feel reality from within. It touches the essence behind forms. A sunrise is no longer just light. It becomes a message of renewal. A storm is no longer just weather. It becomes a lesson in surrender. Every phenomenon becomes a verse in the scripture of existence, waiting for the heart to interpret. The eyes overlook truth because they are trained to seek clarity in form, not essence. But form is a veil. It shifts, breaks, and disappears. The soul sees what does not change the life beneath the appearance. The mystic gazes not at the container, but at the light shining through it. For him, the seen is only a doorway to the unseen. This recognition changes how one experiences relationships as well. The eyes judge by behavior, appearance, and words. The soul reads intention, pain, sincerity, and longing. It perceives the divine spark in others, even when the outer self appears clouded. It loves not because of who someone seems to be, but because of who they truly are beneath the layers. When the soul recognizes truth, it also recognizes illusion. It sees the traps the eyes fall into, the desire for praise, the fear of judgment, the chase for possession. These illusions lose their power over an awakened soul. What once felt important becomes weightless. What once caused fear becomes transparent. The soul sees through the world, not just at it. There are moments when the eyes see loss, but the soul sees preparation. The eyes see endings, but the soul senses transformation. The eyes see chaos, but the soul perceives divine order unfolding. This is why the mystic smiles in difficulty, not because he is free from pain, but because he recognizes what pain is creating inside him. The soul recognizes truth by resonance. When something is real, it vibrates deeply within. When something is false, it creates tension. This inner resonance becomes a compass, guiding the seeker more accurately than any map. The eyes may be deceived by beauty or persuasion, but the soul never mistakes imitation for authenticity. As the soul awakens further, the world becomes layered with meaning. Every place becomes sacred, every moment infused with presence. Even silence becomes articulate. The mystic begins to feel guided not by outer circumstances, but by an invisible movement within a pull, a knowing, a gentle directive rising from the depths of being. The eyes measure, compare, and judge. The soul accepts, embraces, and understands. It recognizes the divine rhythm in everything, even in experiences that appear harsh. For the soul knows that the beloved shapes every moment according to a wisdom the eyes cannot grasp. Trust becomes natural, surrender becomes sweet. When the soul recognizes what the eyes overlook, life becomes less about searching and more about seeing. The seeker realizes that the divine was never distant. He was simply concealed behind the veil of appearances. The awakened soul begins to detect his fingerprints everywhere, in joy, in sorrow, in beauty, in difficulty. Nothing feels empty anymore. This recognition also brings humility. The seeker understands that the eyes were never meant to be the ultimate guide. They are tools, not authorities. It is the soul that interprets their findings. As this balance forms, the seeker becomes grounded yet uplifted, realistic yet spiritually perceptive, living in both worlds without being imprisoned by either. The mystic learns to trust the soul's insight even when the eyes disagree. Many truths appear illogical at first glance. Many blessings come disguised as challenges. Many openings appear as closures. But the soul perceives the hidden arrangements of the unseen. It knows that the beloved often wraps gifts in paradox. As the soul recognizes more deeply, the seeker becomes more compassionate. He sees the unseen struggles of others, the wounds behind their actions. The eyes may witness anger, but the soul feels the hurt beneath it. The eyes may see arrogance, but the soul perceives insecurity. This deeper vision births mercy, a divine mercy flowing through the seeker's heart. The more the soul awakens, the more it learns to read signs. Not supernatural signs, but the subtle signs written into everyday life. These signs stand everywhere, in timing, in coincidence, in intuition, in encounters that feel destined. The eyes call them random, the soul calls them guidance. The soul reaches a state where recognition becomes constant. The world no longer feels divided into sacred and ordinary. All things speak, all things guide, all things reveal. The eyes see creation. The soul sees the Creator through creation. This is the essence of true perception, witnessing the one through the many. The seeker realizes a profound truth. What the eyes overlook is not hidden. It is simply too subtle for sight alone. The soul was always meant to complete the vision. When the inner and outer align, the seeker sees clearly for the first time. The world becomes a mirror, the heart becomes the eye, and truth shines from every direction. There exists a realm within the human soul where language loosens its grip and symbols rise to speak. This realm does not communicate through sentences or logic, but through shapes, colors, moments, and movements that echo from the unseen. It is a place where meaning is not constructed, it is revealed. The mystic enters this space, not by effort, but by surrender, allowing the subtle forces of the inner world to guide understanding without noise. Symbols speak because truth is too vast for ordinary language. A single symbol can hold an ocean of meaning more than 100 pages can express. In the quiet realm, a flicker of light may signify awakening, a shadow may reveal concealment, a circle may whisper of unity. The heart becomes the interpreter, not the mind, and what the heart reads becomes a form of revelation. This realm opens when the seeker learns to listen without expectation. Noise dissolves, the ego softens, and suddenly the world begins to communicate differently. What once appeared random becomes intentional. What once felt small becomes significant. Symbols rise like stars in a dark sky, guiding the traveler through terrains unseen by the physical eye. Every soul carries its own symbolic language, crafted by experiences, wounds, dreams, and divine encounters. The mystic learns to observe this inner alphabet. A recurring image may contain a hidden instruction. A dream may carry a message from the unseen. A moment of déjà vu may signal alignment. These are not coincidences, they are the subtle handwriting of the beloved. In this quiet realm, symbols often appear before understanding. They arrive as impressions, soft and mysterious, asking the heart to sit with them. The impatient mind rejects them. The receptive heart allows them to unfold. Over time, the symbol reveals its layers, deepening meaning like a river carving its path through rock. This slowness is part of its wisdom. Symbols speak in a language older than speech. Before humanity learned to form words, it learned to read signs. The rising sun, the cycle of seasons, the patterns of wind and water. Ibn Arabi taught that the cosmos itself is a divine manuscript. Every symbol is a letter, every event a sentence, every life a paragraph of the infinite story written in changing forms. The mystic recognizes that symbols do not carry meaning, they awaken it. They stir something within that already knows the truth. A symbol is a mirror that reflects the hidden inner landscape. When the seeker sees themselves in it, understanding dawns. This recognition is more intimate than learning. It feels like remembering. Not all symbols speak at once. Some appear repeatedly over years, silently waiting until the heart matures enough to understand them. A seeker might overlook a sign for decades, only to suddenly realize its significance in a single moment. Time is part of the language of symbols. Patience is part of the vocabulary. The quiet realm teaches that symbols do not exist outside us alone. The world mirrors the soul, and the soul mirrors the world. When the seeker changes inwardly, the symbols they encounter in life also shift. What once appeared threatening becomes comforting. What once felt like loss becomes a sign of realignment. Transformation alters interpretation. In this realm, symbols also test the heart. They ask, will you look deeper, or will you remain at the surface? Many see a closed door and retreat. The mystic sees a closed door and wonders what it protects. Symbols invite curiosity, humility, and the courage to travel inward. They are guardians of truth, not barriers to it. The mystic learns that symbols appear most clearly when the heart is calm. In agitation, everything becomes distorted. In stillness, everything becomes articulate. Silence becomes the interpreter. In silence, symbols grow louder. They shine with meaning, casting gentle light across the inner world, like stars illuminating the night. There are moments when a symbol enters the heart with such clarity that it alters the seeker instantly. A single dream, a single vision, a single phrase may break open a new world. These moments arrive unexpectedly in prayer, in solitude, in sorrow, or in joy. When they come, they feel like the divine, speaking without words. Symbols also reveal the unity behind diversity. Many forms, one meaning. Many appearances, one essence. The mystic sees the same truth reflected in sky, water, fire, stone, and silence. The multiplicity of symbols does not confuse them, it expands them. They learn that truth is not limited by form, but expressed through endless forms. The quiet realm teaches that symbols must be lived, not merely interpreted. A symbol understood only in the mind remains incomplete. But when it is embodied, when it becomes behavior, attitude, and presence, it transforms the seeker. Understanding becomes integration. Knowledge becomes wisdom. Insight becomes character. Some symbols mark transitions in the seeker's spiritual journey. They appear when one phase ends and another begins, signaling that growth is occurring in the unseen. These symbols are gentle companions, offering reassurance when nothing in the external world seems to make sense. They remind the seeker that they are moving, even in apparent stillness. Symbols also carry the perfume of divine intimacy. They appear uniquely to each seeker, tailored to their soul's path. What moves one heart deeply may mean nothing to another. This is the beauty of the quiet realm. It honors individuality while revealing universal truth. Each seeker receives symbols in the language they were born to understand. As the heart becomes fluent in this symbolic language, it begins to read the world differently. The seeker stops asking for signs because everything becomes a sign. Life itself becomes a symbolic tapestry woven with intention and purpose. Questions dissolve. Certainty flows without explanation. The seeker feels guided without needing proof. The mystic discovers that the quiet realm is not separate from ordinary life. It is woven into every moment, waiting for the heart to notice. The mundane becomes mystical. The ordinary becomes sacred. A leaf falling, a shadow shifting, a light flickering. All of it becomes part of a divine conversation, unfolding in real time. At the highest stage, symbols disappear because the seeker no longer needs them. They have learned to read directly from the heart. The language of the unseen becomes immediate. Meaning flows without intermediary. The soul lives in continual dialogue with the real, beyond forms, beyond metaphors. The world itself becomes a transparent veil, revealing the beloved in everything. And when the seeker reaches this depth, they realize that symbols were never merely signs, they were invitations. Invitations into presence, into awareness, into intimacy with the one who speaks without sound and guides without steps. The quiet realm was the doorway. The beloved was the destination. The veil does not lift because the seeker demands clarity. It lifts when the spirit becomes mature enough to carry what lies behind it. This ripening is not measured by age or knowledge, but by the depth of transformation within. Just as fruit sweetens only after enduring sun, wind, and time, the soul becomes ready only after passing through longing, surrender, and refinement. The veil remains until the heart can meet truth without collapsing into pride or fear. A spirit ripens through experiences that soften its hardness and widen its capacity. Every disappointment loosens attachment. Every loss loosens identity. Every silence loosens dependence on the outer world. Slowly, the inner vessel grows. What once felt unbearable becomes a teacher. What once felt confusing becomes guidance. In this maturing, the soul becomes capable of receiving what the veil guards. The veil protects as much as it conceals. A truth revealed too early can distort the heart rather than illuminate it. Divine wisdom knows the exact moment when unveiling becomes mercy rather than burden. When the spirit ripens, the veil does not need to be torn. It dissolves naturally, like mist disappearing when dawn breaks. The heart simply wakes into a deeper seeing. Ripening does not happen in straight lines. The soul expands and contracts, opens and closes, grows and hides. These cycles are not failures, they are seasons. Just as winter hardens the earth, so spring may soften it. The soul moves through inner winters that prepare it for awakening. The veil thins each time the heart learns patience, humility, and honesty with itself. When the spirit ripens, its perception shifts from external events to internal movements. It begins to see that the veil was never outside. It was woven from its own fears, assumptions, and attachments. As these threads loosen, light begins to seep through. The seeker realizes they were not waiting for unveiling. Unveiling was waiting for them. In the early stages, the veil appears solid. Everything seems distant, hidden, unreachable. Yet as the heart matures, transparency emerges. Insights appear unexpectedly. Intuition sharpens. The seeker begins to sense truth, not as information, but as presence. The veil has not lifted fully, but it has begun to breathe. The spirit ripens most in moments of surrender. When the seeker stops wrestling with life and leans into trust, something subtle shifts. Resistance dissolves. Acceptance deepens. A small opening appears where the veil once felt impenetrable. Through that opening enters a quiet certainty that does not come from the mind but from the soul's deep remembering. A ripened spirit does not seek unveiling for the sake of spiritual excitement. It seeks only alignment with the real. It desires truth not for elevation, but for intimacy. It knows that to see is to carry responsibility, and it is willing to carry that responsibility with humility. Such readiness becomes a magnet for unveiling. As the spirit ripens, its relationship with suffering changes. Pain no longer feels like punishment. It becomes purification. Difficulty no longer feels like abandonment. It becomes preparation. The veil begins to thin in the places where the heart has been humbled. Every wound becomes a window. Every tear wipes one layer of obscurity away. Unveiling also brings a new kind of clarity. The spirit begins to see connections that once felt invisible. Patterns of destiny emerge. The heart feels guided by an unseen intelligence. Things no longer appear random. The veil lifts just enough to reveal that even confusion had a purpose. The seeker stands at the edge of meaning, no longer blind. As ripening continues, the spirit becomes sensitive to divine timing. It understands that nothing comes early and nothing comes late. The veil lifts precisely when the inner soil is fertile enough to hold the seed of truth. Until then, the heart waits, prays, and prepares not in frustration, but in trust. For the ripened spirit knows that delay is part of the design. In this state, the seeker begins to feel moments of unveiling, like sudden bursts of light. A realization may appear in solitude, a vision may surface in sleep, a truth may arrive during despair. These moments do not come through effort. They arrive like unexpected guests, carrying messages that reshape the inner world. The veil moves softly aside for a moment, then returns to protect the heart as it integrates the revelation. The ripened spirit develops a deeper form of sight, an inner seeing that illuminates meanings behind appearances. It becomes aware that every outer veil hides an inner unveiling. The world becomes layered, multidimensional, alive with hidden currents. The spirit no longer feels lost in the visible. It moves confidently toward the invisible. When the veil thins further, the seeker feels intimacy with the beloved in ways impossible before. The heart becomes aware of a nearness that does not depend on circumstance. The spirit feels watched over, guided, embraced. This is not imagination. It is the beginning of real unveiling, where the presence of the divine becomes undeniable. As unveiling deepens, humility grows. The seeker does not boast about what is seen, for the ripened spirit knows that truth is entrusted, not earned. It protects the revelation like a fragile flame, shielding it from ego's wind. True unveiling brings silence, not speech, reverence, not excitement. The veil lifts only for those who can carry this silence with dignity. The spirit continues to ripen as it releases its last layers of separation. Old fears dissolve, old desires lose their spark. The heart becomes spacious, receptive, and gentle. It stops grasping for certainty because it has found something greater than certainty. It has found connection. And in connection, the veil lifts effortlessly. There comes a point where the seeker no longer fears the unknown. The veil becomes a friend, not an obstacle. It is recognized as a garment of mercy, shielding the soul until it is strong enough to face the light without trembling. The spirit bows in gratitude for the years of concealment that shaped its capacity to receive. When the spirit ripens fully, the veil lifts in a way that feels both sudden and ancient. The seeker does not feel overwhelmed. They feel at home. They see with the eye of the heart, hear with the ear of the soul, and understand without explanation. The world remains the same, yet everything appears new. In this unveiling, the seeker learns the ultimate mystery. The veil was not hiding the divine from them, it was hiding them from themselves. Once removed, the spirit sees its own reflection in the light of truth and recognizes that it was never separate, never distant, never forgotten. This is the ripened spirit's awakening, and in this awakening, the seeker steps into a life where the veil no longer conceals, but dances, thinning, lifting, shimmering, revealing deeper layers of the real with every breath. The journey continues, but now with eyes that see and a heart that knows. Insight does not arrive through force or urgency. It descends like a gentle rainfall upon a land that has finally learned how to absorb water. The moment it comes is never random. It visits the heart that has endured its necessary seasons of longing, of confusion, of surrender, of silence. When the inner soil softens enough, insight slips through effortlessly, not as a thought, but as a recognition that feels older than memory itself. This descent cannot be predicted. It appears in the most unexpected moments, during quiet contemplation, in the middle of grief, in the softness after prayer, or even in the pause between breaths. The seeker may have waited years without understanding why nothing opened. Then suddenly, without warning, the heart blossoms, and what once felt impossible becomes clear. Insight obeys divine timing, not human impatience. The heart must be prepared, not by accumulation of knowledge, but by purification of intention. The one who seeks insight for admiration or intellectual pride remains closed, but the one who longs sincerely for truth becomes a vessel ready to be filled. When the heart sheds its hidden motives, insight descends gently, like a whispered secret from the unseen. Insight descends in silence, never in noise. It does not compete with the world's distractions or the ego's demands. It waits for the moment when the heart finally becomes still enough to feel its arrival. In that stillness, something stirs a subtle inner shift, a soft illumination, signaling that truth has entered the heart's inner chamber. What makes this moment sacred is its unmistakable clarity. Insight does not arrive as doubt or debate. It arrives as knowing, a certainty that does not require evidence. The seeker feels it spread inward like warmth, dissolving confusion. It feels like a key, turning in a lock the heart has carried for years. Finally, the door opens. When insight descends, it does not add something new. It reveals something forgotten. It awakens a truth that was always present, but buried beneath layers of fear, distraction, and longing. The seeker does not say, "I have learned," but rather, "I have remembered." Insight is the soul reclaiming its original knowledge. The moment of receiving insight is also the moment the seeker understands why the wait was necessary. What once seemed like delay was preparation. What felt like emptiness was cleansing. The heart had to be hollowed out before it could hold the weight of truth. Insight explains the journey, not through logic, but through illumination. As insight descends, the seeker feels the world align in a new way. Patterns that once appeared chaotic suddenly show harmony. Events that once seemed meaningless reveal their purpose. The heart realizes that it was guided all along, even when it felt lost. Insight is the light that reveals the hidden architecture of destiny. This descent often comes with tenderness. The heart softens, the eyes may fill, and the soul feels embraced by a presence it cannot describe. It is not emotional overwhelm, it is recognition. Recognition of the one who has been shaping every moment, waiting to unveil what the seeker was finally ready to hold. After receiving insight, the seeker becomes quieter, more grounded. They speak less, observe more, and carry a subtle humility. They no longer cling to assumptions, because they now understand how much was unseen. Insight does not inflate the seeker, it softens them. for true seeing makes one gentle. A prepared heart also understands that insight is not permanent possession. It is a visitor from the unseen. It must be honored, protected, and lived. If the seeker tries to claim it as personal achievement, it departs. But if they cradle it with sincerity and gratitude, more insight follows, like waves drawn to a receptive shore. Insight often brings with it a new kind of responsibility. The seeker must now embody what was revealed, not merely contemplate it. Living truth becomes the next stage of the journey. Insight is the seed, action is the fruit. The heart must integrate what it has been shown until it becomes part of its very nature. When insight descends, it also awakens compassion. The seeker remembers their own blindness and recognizes it in others without judgment. They understand that unveiling cannot be forced upon anyone, and that each soul ripens at its own pace. Compassion becomes the natural fragrance of a heart touched by truth. The descent of insight also teaches the seeker that guidance does not come through striving alone. It arrives through alignment. When the heart aligns with sincerity, humility, and surrender, insight becomes inevitable. It is attracted to purity the way light is attracted to clear water. The clearer the heart, the brighter the illumination. In the deeper stages, insight begins to descend more frequently. The seeker becomes fluent in reading the unseen. Ordinary moments carry extraordinary clarity. A phrase, a symbol, a silence, all become vessels of revelation. The heart lives in a steady dialogue with the real, receiving meaning the way a flower receives sunlight. The seeker realizes that insight was never external. The descent was not from above, but from within. The truth was always inside the heart, waiting for the layers of self to peel away. The moment of insight is the moment the heart glimpses itself, its true self, illuminated by the divine. At the highest state, insight feels less like moments of revelation and more like a continuous presence. The seeker lives in a state of inward seeing, where every breath carries wisdom, every step feels guided. The world no longer confuses them. It communicates. The veil does not fully disappear, but it becomes translucent. The soul prepared to receive insight becomes a sanctuary for divine whispers. It moves through life with quiet certainty, not because it knows the future, but because it trusts the one who shapes it. Insight transforms uncertainty from fear into surrender, turning the unknown into a place of intimacy rather than dread. The final gift of insight is recognition of companionship, that the one who reveals truth has always been near, shaping the heart, refining the spirit, and waiting tenderly for readiness. The descent of insight is not merely guidance, it is a meeting between the human and the divine, between the seeker and the source, between longing and its fulfillment. And once this meeting happens, even for a moment, the seeker is never the same. They walk with a new light, inside a light that may flicker, but never extinguishes. For the heart that has tasted insight becomes forever prepared to receive again, living in a state of quiet anticipation, ready for the next descent of truth. The hidden meaning does not belong to the mind that analyzes, but to the heart that has learned how to be still. What is veiled from many is not withheld. It simply waits for the soul that has learned how to listen beneath the noise of the world. Ibn Arabi reminded us that truth reveals itself according to the maturity of the seeker, and each unveiling is a mercy, tailored to the heart prepared to receive it. If something in these words stirred a quiet recognition in you, then know this: the secret did not enter you today, it awakened inside you. The meanings that only a few can decode are not confined to books or voices. They live in the silent chambers of your being, waiting for the moment your inner light grows strong enough to reveal them. Carry these glimpses gently. Protect them from haste, from pride, from the need to explain. Let them ripen within you, for every hidden truth reveals its next layer in its own time. Your journey is not toward understanding, but toward becoming the one who can receive understanding. And when the next veil lifts, as it surely will, you will realize that the secret was never far, never distant, never locked away. It was shaped inside your soul long before you sought it, waiting for the moment when your heart finally became a place where meaning could descend and be at home.